This week's mini abstract challenge for you comes in 4 parts, so keep on watching to see the whole thing. Because I'm going to break this down this week and show you the meat and potatoes that you can use to make a mini abstract. I don't know why I've said meat and potatoes. Paint and brushes? I don't know. Anyway. Now, you know there's lots of ways that you can do these mini abstracts, and you know some of those ways are going to be unique to you, and this is kind of what we're teasing out here, trying to find the things that you enjoy doing and how you sort of put them together to get artwork that is just about you, really. So we're testing and we're playing and we're pushing ourselves to see what we can do with the products that we're using. So this week I thought what I would do is I would break down this mini abstract into 4 distinct parts. So hopefully at the end of it you'll have some pick and mix ideas to swap in and out of and just have play with. Anyway, let's get on with part 1. That's what I'm doing at the moment. And part 1, if you try splodging some colour onto the surface. And acrylic paint is good for this because you can, once it's dry, you can layer over the top and not have to worry about it. But just use whatever you want, really. Use what you're drawn to using today. Don't worry too much about it. Just for this part, get some colour down onto your mini abstract. And if you want to see what I'm using, then don't forget that I list all my products in the description as a guide for you as well. But of course, you know, you don't have to use exactly the same thing. Just swap in what you've got in your stash already. Now I've picked a couple of colours and I've watered the paint down so that I can get some drips and dribbles as well and add some nice visual texture to this. And you're going to want to let it completely dry before moving on to part 2 of the challenge. And this is where we're going to add in some collage elements. Pop back to the video last week if you need a reminder for the technique of gluing this element down. And this week I really want you to have a look at the placement. So for example, my 2 paint splodges are kind of slanted a little, and to me they look as if they're leaning towards that left hand side, so they're heavily on that left hand side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a strip of book page cutting across them, and then I'll have it sort of more loaded towards the right hand side of the page to counterbalance the colour underneath. And it also means that I keep clear that interesting drip and dribble on the left. So have a real good look at your paint splodges and, you know, see where you can put your collage piece to add and harmonise with that layer. And you can move now straight on to part 3, which is to add some paint details. So we started with random splodges. This time try some less random, more controlled mark making. Anything you like. You can see that I've changed up my colours and gone from a cold colour palette of those splodges to this warmer colour palette. And this just adds a contrast, but you can really do whatever you want, so just go for it. For my mark making, I'm adding some arcs because, well, I'm kind of in this very arcy place at the moment. I don't know what that's about, but I've been adding quite a few marks here and there, some arc marks. So go with what is, you know, calling you at the moment. You could add patterns, you could add dots, lines, circles, you know the drill. Just have some fun with it and play. Now once you've let this mark making dry, if you've used wet materials, if you've used dry materials then don't worry about it, but if you've used wet materials like paint, then you want to let that dry because we're now going to move on to the final part, part 4, which is going to be about finer details. And for this you're going to want to use a pen that works on the layers that you've been using, and I'm going to use a ballpoint pen because I kind of like adding ballpoint pen, but you could use a paint pen or a fine line marker if it will go over the paint. You could use pencils or crayons, whatever you feel comfortable with using. And here add in some finer details, some finer patterns and mark making. moved up in refinement for this 4-part challenge, haven't we? So this is the point of the challenge. We've gone for something that's really splodgy and random, and then added some more random with collage, but maybe a little bit more thought in it. And then we've gone for some more details to the final layer, which is all about fine details. And that's your challenge. So start big and splodgy, then move up through your layers to the final details at the end. Enjoy the challenge? Tag me in on Instagram to see the results, because you know I would love to see it. And you can catch up with my other mini abstract videos too to keep you inspired, and there's some challenges in those as well. Or watch these mixed media videos next for some more ideas and techniques, and I'll see you over there. Bye!